Welcome! I am the Moochicken! And welcome to my first reaction video. I mean, my 1000th reaction video. And today I'm gonna watch the announcement of the 13th Doctor in a program that's very popular in the UK, Doctor Who. We're gonna watch this video uploaded by the channel, which was announced yesterday. Now I haven't seen this at all, so I know it's a woman, but that is it. So let's check it out and see what they've got for us, alright? Now before even watching the video, I can see it's got 1,929,000 views. It's got 51,000 likes, but it's got 30,000 dislikes. So clearly people are very split about this choice of Doctor. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Alright, here we go. Looking very nice. It's looking very nice out here. And here's her back. I know it's a she. You can't fool me. I know what you're doing. You got a nice hoodie. You're going to be a gangster, I think. Got a gangster female. Assassin's Creed, maybe. Nice boots. Very nice. Nice button. Nice hand. Wow. Nice eyelashes. And there's the reveal. I can see your brown roots. Alright. Introducing Jodie Whittaker? Whittaker? Undertaker? The 13th Doctor. Now, first impressions of this, I thought it was a nice mystery there at the beginning, even though I knew she was a woman. But when this was announced, I'm guessing people didn't know. I didn't know until yesterday. Now honestly, when I heard yesterday I was a woman, I imagined she would look older, honestly. I thought she'd be wearing some glasses. I imagined her having brown hair. They made her blonde. A lot younger than I thought she would. Honestly, but maybe this is her at the beginning. I mean, the other Doctors have changed a little over their time. Now, I know this is very controversial, having a woman. Clearly a lot of people are split on this, and I can see why. Honestly, I understand. Because, you know, after the last few years, there's been such a movement with women everywhere. They've been promoting this female agenda. And honestly, I mean, you know, you got the main protagonist in Star Wars, The Force Awakens, is a woman, which is fun. But then you've got a little scene in Force Awakens when you got a male character looking on the female lead, and he's like, "Oh, she can fight?" He looks on her with surprise that she can fend for herself. And then you got Star Wars Rogue One with another female protagonist, and you got the same scene. You got a scene with a male character looking on at her fighting, like, "Oh, she can fight." Well, of course she can fight. She's been on her own all these years and survived. And then you've got, you know, the Ghostbusters. Completely replaced the males, got all the females in. And the only real male character in the movie was completely dumb. They portrayed him as a dummy. A complete dummy. Played by Thor. And Thor is not a dummy. But he was for choosing that role, I'll tell you that. You got a lot of controversy about castings. There's been a lot of talk about more female characters, which is fine, which is good. But Doctor Who has been a male for over 50 years. Over 50 years, and it feels everything else with this large agenda. It feels like they're just jumping on the bandwagon here. It doesn't feel like it's natural. It feels a little forced, honestly, I can see that. It feels they're just doing it because everyone else is doing it. After 50 years. I mean, the timing, it makes you just roll your eyes a little. That was really my reaction. I mean, I remember reading speculation online that maybe, imagine if they got a woman, but I didn't take it that seriously, honestly. And I thought, you know, they were just saying it in jest. But now they've actually got a woman. And, you know, it's kind of surprising on one hand, But on the other, it's pretty predictable, actually. And, they already replaced the master with Missy, who's a woman. And now Missy's out of the picture. And now they replaced the doctor with a woman. What is it that they need a woman? Why do they need a woman? They're replacing all the male roles. Why? Why? There's also Suicide Squad, not that long ago. And you got a similar scene with Harley Quinn beating up that black zombie in the elevator. And then the entire squad's outside. And they're looking at her as if they're in disbelief. They can't believe that she beat someone. And it don't make any sense. Yeah, she's a woman. But why else would she be there if she couldn't fend for herself? What use is she if she can't fight? Why did they think she couldn't fight? Because she's a woman and they're trying to push this agenda? What was the point? What was the point? So yeah, the timing of it, it's all very eye-rolling, really. If it was in a few years when all of this cooled down a little, it wouldn't feel like they're just jumping on the bandwagon here. But right now, that's what it feels like. It feels like they're just trying to push and get people talking. Which of course is gonna work, but I don't know. I hope she's good, of course. I want her to be good. I mean, when I first saw Matt Smith's Doctor, I wasn't over the moon, honestly. I really liked David Tennant, and Matt Smith, the moment I saw him in the newspaper, I was like, what is this? Who is this guy?
He didn't grow, he grew on me a little. I got used to him.
I didn't love him at the end, but I kinda stopped watching a little bit, a lot of his episodes. But the same thing with Peter Capaldi, the 12th Doctor, the current Doctor. I wasn't over the moon, but I got used to him. And by the end, I really like him as the Doctor.
It suits him very well.
He did a really good job. I think the script writing in the last couple of seasons haven't been great. And I think that might have let him down a little, but him as the Doctor, he's been great. I really like him now. So, there's always the chance that she'll surprise a lot of people. And there's also the chance that she might just meet everyone's expectations. She might be great. Everyone might think she's gonna be great. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what other people are thinking right now. All I've seen is the dislike and like ratio. But I know what a lot of people are gonna be thinking and saying on both sides. And I understand both sides, really. But no matter how it starts out, I mean, we get used to people over time. People do get used to new ideas, I've found. We get used to new faces, such as Peter, such as Matt. I always liked David Tennant, honestly. But, even if she has a wobbly start, which she may do, just like Peter, by the end of her career as the Doctor, at the end of her stretch, she may be, a fan favorite. She may be a people favorite. She may impress us all greatly, and, I do wish her
the best.
And I hope there's a lot of great stories coming up, because story is really what matters here. And at the end of it, it makes sense to some extent that when the Doctor regenerates, his whole body changes, and it changes into someone else. So why couldn't he be a female? Why couldn't he be a woman? But, the last 50 years, he's been a man. Every regeneration has been a man. But it's not impossible. It does make sense. But also, you got other things to consider here, such as the Doctor's romance with River Song, and his feelings for Rose Tyler. And these were women, and he was a man. But he had always been a man at that point. So, now that he's a woman, will those feelings still be there? Will they be gone? What's gonna happen? But really, there's the argument that their relationship was mainly exclusively to one Doctor. I mean, Rose Tyler was David Tennant's companion. And I think River Song, although she met the Doctor as David Tennant and was with the Doctor as Matt Smith, And I think the romance there was really with Peter Capaldi, you know? That's ultimately where it was all leading to. So that aspect might be interesting in the future, to see if she'll be attracted to a man in the future, or if it won't be brought up. And if the Doctor after this won't be a man again, you know, maybe it'll be brought up again then, and it won't matter. There has also been this argument about female superheroes, and people are like, why don't you just create your own heroes if you're that bothered? You know? Wonder Woman's doing very well at the moment. She's always been a woman. You know? She's not replacing anyone. And we've already got, like I said, Missy replacing the Master. Now we've got a woman replacing what's always been a male Doctor. And I understand why a lot of people are getting fed up. But would it have been different if it was a black Doctor? If it was a black actor? Would there be such a divide then? Would we be sat saying, the Doctor's always been white, now he's black and that's not acceptable? Is that what we'd be saying? Or is the fact that she's a woman such a bigger factor than skin color? Is skin color not as big a deal as gender? Would that be acceptable to be a black Doctor but not a female Doctor? Is it too big a leap that she's now a female? Even though the entire body gets transformed? Gets regenerated? It's interesting to think. There probably will be a black Doctor eventually. I don't doubt that. But would there be the same response? That's the question. Now, one of the top comments says, disappointed the BBC didn't go with a black Muslim woman for the diversity. I lost a bet for that. And yeah, this really sums up what I'm feeling a lot of people online are saying. They're trying to push, what's called PC, political correctness, down everybody, and putting people in roles where people don't feel they should be, such as, the Dark Tower. You've got a black actor as Roland, and he's a white character in the book, and a lot of people are scratching their heads at this. Can you get a white actor? He's meant to look like Clint Eastwood. Does he look like Clint Eastwood? No. But it doesn't seem to be a very true portrayal of the books anyway. It looks like it's gonna be a big twist on the story, and a very condensed version. And, that's gonna be disappointing in itself to a lot of people, but I don't know if this is just the icing on the cake or if they just accept it now because it's not what they hoped they were gonna get. It doesn't bother me that the Doctor's gonna be female now, says LT Mango Tango. It just bothers me how awfully hard BBC has tried to shove the whole female regeneration down our throats recently. Missy, the General, the Doctor. And this is what I was saying. They're being replaced by women. Why should they have to be replaced? Can't you create your own character? I mean, this is tradition, Will it make a big difference? Maybe not. But people get fed up when things get forced down them. But we'll see, like I said. People get used to things very quickly sometimes. When you see them week after week after week, you get used to the story.
You get used to that face. You get used to that voice.
I think it's unfair to call people fake fans for being upset with a major change in a show. People can have opinions at the end of the day. As a 17-year-old girl and a feminist, I hate this change too, but I'm not going after people who are for it, calling them names for having an opinion that is against mine. I'm against it because I found it gross that the only way the show could give us a strong character was to change the way the main character has been from the start. Think about how amazing it would be if this actress was a companion who was a Time Lord. That's how I wish it played out. And that the Doctor was a man who wasn't white for a change. I also wish the other feminists would stop going mental at people who are disappointed they will hardly come around with you lot calling them names. And she brings up a point that I brought up. This person believes that there should be a Doctor that wasn't white. So she'd be fine if there was one that was black. But why is that? Why would she be fine with a black Doctor but she hates the fact that she's a woman. Why? The Doctor's never been black. He's always been white. The Doctor's never been a woman. He's always been a man. So why is the fact that she's a woman such a big deal? But the fact that you want him black or you want him non-white, that's not a big deal. I don't understand. It's interesting. But also, she brings up a point I do agree with, which is name-calling people and insulting people, and it's true. They're not going to come around with you calling them names. And honestly, it's a bit too late for that now because they've chosen the Doctor. They've already filmed. There's nothing you can do about it now. Maybe you can get her out after the first season, but, we should give people a chance. And we shouldn't hate on her just for her agenda, And we shouldn't start insulting people because of their opinions, because they love the fact that she's now female. It's not acceptable to harass people, to insult people viciously, and to spew hatred on people. Something we just gotta accept right now, even if we don't like it. And it's not probably going to affect our lives too much. It's not the end of the world. And ultimately, it's doing no harm by having a woman. You may not like it, and you may stop watching it, even if you didn't want to be in that position, but I say give it a chance, Yeah, I agree it would have been better to have another Time Lord character maybe, or maybe just a strong companion, but all the companions I can think of have been pretty strong. Since the 9th Doctor, they've all been pretty strong, and even before then, so they didn't really need to prove any point here. But it's a bold move on their part, for sure, and it does make me a little bit excited to see what they do with this character. I hope it's nothing, to add on top, pushing the fact that she's, a female every episode, every minute. We know she's a woman. We don't need to push down our face when we're watching the episodes, when we're trying to get involved with the story. At the beginning, of course, for a character who's always been a man, it would be a great surprise to him. Or maybe a sad surprise to him, and he would have to deal with that, I'm sure. So in the first episodes, of course, we've got to see how he reacts to this, or how she reacts to this now, and how the Doctor, copes with being a woman. I don't know how it would feel to be a man and suddenly be a woman. But it makes sense at the beginning, but we don't want it throughout her entire stretch as the Doctor, constantly bringing it up, constantly having a dilemma with this. We want to get on with the story. We want new exciting stories that don't just involve the fact that she'll be a woman. So I hope they do something exciting with that. And I hope scripts get better, because honestly, I wasn't too impressed this last season. And a lot of people were saying that it was getting better this season, but I wasn't impressed, honestly. But like I said, I wasn't paying much attention the last couple of seasons, so maybe I just didn't see the contrast. Somebody else has said, I love all the sexist butthurt, especially the retarded types, who try to say that they are not sexist, all while making horrible excuses for why a shape and gender-changing alien can't change gender. I feed on your ignorant butthurt. Well, to start off, he's never been gender-changing in the past. This is the first time that I know of. And I think this brings up a point that people feel they can't criticize any, political correctness in fear of being called names. And that's not a nice place for us to be in as a society, because, people shouldn't feel they're immune because they're a woman, or because they're black, from criticism, or because they're a minority, just because they're a minority, or just because they're a woman. And they're not beyond the criticism. And honestly, this isn't criticism against her, really. It's against the idea. It's against the decision to cast a woman. Maybe she auditioned alongside other men, which is probable, but honestly, people shouldn't be calling others names, like sexist, just because they have an opinion on this. I don't think it's as simple as that. Somebody down here reminded me, actually. Somebody argued about Wonder Woman, and somebody defended the fact you can't change Wonder Woman because she's supposed to balance out with all the male characters in the Justice League. By gender-bending Wonder Woman, you would essentially have to gender-bend the entire Justice League. In addition, you would also have to gender-bend an entire race of women, the Amazonians, therefore changing fundamental Greek mythology, which is very much so deeply rooted in modern culture. Your argument is invalid. And honestly, she doesn't have to be in the Justice League. I mean, She was Wonder Woman before the Justice League. Batman was Batman before the Justice League. Superman was Superman before the Justice League. You can't just bring the Justice League into all of this. She's got her own movie, hasn't she? She had her own TV series, didn't she? So that's an invalid argument right there. But yet the Amazonians changing fundamental Greek mythology, and somebody down here reminded me that he says actually it's not at all Wonder Woman isn't there to balance anything out. She is her own character with her own arc. The comics aren't all about the Justice League. Second, Marvel changed Thor's sex, and I am pretty sure he is a Norse god with very deep cultural roots too. And yeah, that reminded me. They changed Thor into a woman. Why? Again, another male character, well known, and replaced by a woman. For what reason? Another example. If you want female characters, make female characters. Don't replace the male characters that have been around for years and are well known. And then that reminded me, female Iron Man. Thor is it's a male name, It's a Norse god and it's a male. The Iron Man, the clue's in the name. He's a man. And now, since 2016, I believe, they got a black woman as Iron Man. That makes no sense. Again, a female replacing a beloved, well-known, popular male superhero and a male character. Why? Make your own characters. And if they're already created, then promote them more. Give them good stories. Make them popular. But don't replace
the man.
The clue's in the name. Iron Man. Not Iron Woman. I just don't this is why I don't understand and why it feels like they're just jumping on the bandwagon, and it's just another example of females just replacing the males that have been around for decades as male. And I understand the backlash. I really do. The difference with the Doctor is, though, as we've discussed, is that, there's no reason in theory why the Doctor can't be a woman, why he can't gender bend, but it's just the idea of males being replaced yet again. And the timing of it is just, sigh-inducing, eye-rolling. And at this point, becoming predictable, at this point, anyone could be replaced. You're all in danger now. You're all in danger. They're coming for you. Count on it. They're coming for you. Spider-Man's gonna be a Spider-Woman soon. Wolverine, the next Wolverine, I betcha, is gonna be a woman. Next Professor Xavier, gonna be a woman. Although we still got one at the moment, but you get my point, you get my drift. Next Magneto's gonna be a woman. We don't know what happened to Magneto. So, it's all very interesting. It's all very controversial. It's all very, to a lot of people, it's very groan-inducing. But we'll see what happens. We'll see. Somebody's down here saying, wait, I'm confused. Hardly anyone complained when the Master turned into a girl. In fact, a lot of people love Missy. Time Lords always regenerate into a different form, and even if they've taken the male form for years, it doesn't mean it can never be female. Why does the Doctor being a girl have to be seen as a huge feminist statement or something? We have to hate on it because it broke a tradition? Why can't this new form just be accepted like any of the other ones? And they got a response, lots of us complained. It's just that there are not as many dedicated Master fans. He's my favorite character though, as there are Doctor fans. Also, the Master is a secondary character, so a lot more people were more willing to let it slide. I personally hated the change. I both hated that they changed his sex and his demeanor. Gender is an important bonding tool when it comes to loving characters for a lot of people, and to me both the Master and the Doctor should have stayed male. Don't get me wrong, I think Gomez was an amazing actor. I just hated what that character did to the Master. And yeah, the Master turning into a girl, well, I didn't understand why they did that. I didn't understand where she came from, honestly. I must have missed something there, but someone else commented, Computer Love, did anyone watching Tom Baker's Run expect the Doctor to have a buzz cut and a leather jacket in 2005? Probably not. Doctor Who has always been about change and then being able to accept that change. And honestly, he's got a good point there. It's gone on for a long time, and it had to keep up with the times, I guess. If Doctor Who still looked like he did in the old days, would it have been as popular in 2005? It may have been, It may have been, and it may not have been. They got a young doctor, looking nice and hip, with a leather jacket, you know? Maybe trying too hard, but they were clearly trying to cater to a younger generation. But the fact is, the only real difference were his clothes. I mean, the doctors always had different clothes, but the idea that it should adapt and change for every generation is a valid point. You know, if it wants to go on for the next 50 years and not be labeled as old-fashioned and out with the times, then it's got to adapt in some way. But is this the way? Well, that's not my decision, but they've already made that decision now, so we'll see where it goes from here. And it's a bold move by them. Should it have been a bold move? Am I just being closed-minded by calling it a bold move? Shouldn't I just treat it as any other doctor regeneration? I don't know. Am I just talking about nothing here? Is this worth talking about? Is this worth even any kind of criticism or critique in any way? You know, I think it's worth looking into, honestly, but it's the way it is now. And we all just have to brace ourselves for December, which is a long while away. So we got a long wait for December. I do think it was too soon, honestly, to announce it. Maybe it was just to give us enough time to deal with this information. Maybe that's why they told us so early. In my ideal world, I would have found out on the day. I didn't want to find out yesterday. In fact, I didn't, really. I found out it was a woman, but I would have preferred to find out live, watching it on TV. But it didn't happen that way. So, now it's out there. And, you know, I'm optimistic. I am optimistic about it. I'm gonna tune in. And I'm gonna see what happens. I want it to blow me away, the next series. I hope it does. And I hope she does a good job. She must be a fine actress if they chose her, you know? She better be a fine actress if they chose her. She better be. And I'm sure she will be. I'm sure she'll be good, at least. I hope she'll be great. But not so people can just point the finger and say, I told you so. We got a woman, I told you so. She is great. That's not what I want it to be about. We want to celebrate this series, and we always want it to progress. We want things to progress, and we want things to do better than we've done before. Not because she's a woman, because we want the writers to do a better job. We want the acting to get better. We want the emotion to be stronger. We want each generation to do better than the generation that came before us. That's how we improve. I hope it all works out, honestly. I truly do. Now, this here is what I was talking about. This person commented, my only single issue with a female doctor will be down to the writing of the show. Please keep writing the doctor as the doctor. If gender doesn't matter and we're all truly equal, there shouldn't be any reason for constant, ooh, look, I'm a female, quips and comments every episode. Nor any of the man-bashing comments like, some of us can afford the upgrade from Missy. Equality means equality. Be the doctor and everything will be fine. Now, it is worth noting for me that I'm not familiar with this actress. I've never seen her act before, so I don't know how good she is. I know that she's famous for her role as Beth Latimer in Broadchurch, which I think is a UK series, which I don't watch and I've never watched. So she is an unknown to me. So I have no idea what to expect from this woman. But from what I hear, she's a good actress. Now, the current Dr. Peter Capaldi has said that anyone who has seen Jodie Whittaker's work will know that she is a wonderful actress of great individuality and charm. And I think Doctor Who is all about charm. But I think, honestly, he's got to support, doesn't he? Whoever comes after. He'll look pretty bad if he doesn't give his praise. If he doesn't give his support, he's going to look bad. But there's no reason for me to think, in all honesty, that he's lying. And a lot of other people have kind words for her also. So it's looking like she might do a good job after all. No reason to think she won't. She's going to be a fantastic doctor, is what he's been saying. Do we believe him? we'll find out. And I knew that David Tennant was on Broadchurch, so what a coincidence that is. So, looks like she's getting advice over there. And Rory? I had no idea Rory was in Broadchurch. I had no idea. So it looks like she's got a lot of support around her from people she knows who has experience on the show. Whittaker says, I'm suddenly expecting a couple of calls. I've got a couple of mates on the show. I'm mates with a companion, Broadchurch's Arthur Darville. I'm mates with a trio of doctors. I know Matt Smith, Chris Eccleston, and obviously David Tennant. Oh, and let's throw in David Bradley, also from Broadchurch. 4 doctors. So I'm hoping I get some calls of advice. David Bradley is a very exciting addition. He's making a return as William Hartnell's doctor. And he looks just the part, if I'm honest. He looks really good as William Hartnell. And I think everyone's happy to see him in that role. And we don't know where that's going to go at the moment. But we hope it's going to be exciting. I hope he has a major role in Christmas episode, and we hope honestly that there's some surprises along the way, because he looks great, and if it's really that doctor who's returned, it's going to be great. He was the first doctor, William Hartnell, and now to see him back at this time when we know Peter Capaldi is going to regenerate, it's very interesting. It's very exciting. And I look forward to the Christmas special, as I always do, actually. I always try and watch them at Christmas. I don't know if I've missed one, actually, since it came back in 2005. I've always watched the Christmas episodes, but this one looks very exciting, so I look forward to it. Whittaker also said that she was delighted to become the first female doctor and mark such a milestone in the sci-fi show's history. It feels completely overwhelming, as a feminist, as a woman, as an actor, as a human, as someone who wants to continually push themselves and challenge themselves, and not be boxed in by what you're told you can and can't be. It feels incredible. So, she is a feminist, as she says, and I just hope this doesn't become a gloating thing for them to use. You know, that they're having parades down London, that they don't overblow it and make it something that it's not. Because I remember Gwendolyn Christie, who plays Captain Phasma, completely overblowing her character in Star Wars The Force Awakens. And it was kind of embarrassing to watch, honestly, because she's making it out like her character was so great. The first female Star Wars villain on screen. And she was useless in the story. There was no point to her character, really. She was a complete letdown. I think everyone can mostly agree. And yet she was out there with these speeches trying to make out like this was something so significant, her character. Like it was something to be, celebrated in such a wild manner because she's a female, and trying to dig into the overriding political statements of her character as Captain Phasma, and it seemed so ridiculous to hear what she was coming out with such a minor disappointment, a major disappointment, a minor character in the movies.
I am so overjoyed that there is this character in this film, but they have a character in it that I feel is truly progressive. We relate to Captain Phasma not through that random group of elements that causes us to look a certain way in flesh. We relate to her due to her actions and her character. And that, I think, is truly modern. And that's what really excites me about this film, is that there has been so much there's been diversity in the casting. You have a female character like that, and it's also honouring its roots.
So I hope it's not going to be used in such a crazy, humorous, ridiculous way as a weapon that is not loaded, because it's crazy, and they're just trying to find an agenda anywhere they can. And I just hope it's not used as this baton, hit us over the heads with, because that's what people are sick of. And especially when it makes no sense, in the case of Captain Phasma. But, I may talk about that more in the future if I review The Force Awakens, which I may do before The Last Jedi comes out, if that's what you want. I do have, I hope, a movie review coming out soon. My first one. I mean my
100,000.
movie review, so we'll see. Now, the new head writer and executive producer, Chris Chibnall, has said that after months of lists, conversations, auditions, recalls, and a lot of secret keeping, we're excited to welcome Jodie Whittaker as the 13th Doctor. I always knew I wanted the 13th Doctor to be a woman, and we're thrilled to have secured our number one choice. Her audition for the Doctor simply blew us all away. Jodie is an in-demand, funny, inspiring, super smart force of nature and will bring loads of wit, strength, and warmth to the role. The 13th Doctor is on her way. So, we know it was his agenda to get a woman from the start. That seems to be his admission here. So that is very interesting, actually. So, maybe, he took that into consideration greatly when choosing. If she was the only woman who auditioned, and everyone else was a man, then there's a high chance she would have got the role. But if there was a mix of women and a mix of men, well, still, the men were at a loss there, weren't they? When the head writer and the executive producer wanted a woman from the start, I always knew I wanted the 13th Doctor to be a woman. I mean, where's the equality there? Where's the equality? That's very interesting. So you always wanted a female doctor? But why? So you can go boast to your grandchildren about your great achievement in life? So at dinner parties you can talk about how you're so progressive? A lot of people may be thinking there's nothing wrong in that, and maybe there isn't. Look, all I'm saying is he may not have had the show's best interests at heart. If he was so adamant he was going to choose a female actor from the beginning, for whatever reason, he's clearly got some kind of bias going on here.
Yeah, why not?
At the end of the day, part of me just thinks that life is too short to be complaining about these things. And there are more worrying things to be concerned about in our lives. And honestly, I do think to a lot of people it does come across as a feminist statement, in line with everything else that's been happening over the last few years.
It's just another example.
But we'll see, and we'll hope that she'll do a good job, and we'll hope that the writers do a good job, and I'm actually looking forward to her companion. I want to see how that relationship turns out. I want to see what kind of personality they have, and I hope, honestly, that's nothing what they call PC again, because we already had Bill, who kind of shoved it in our face at the end that she liked girls, and I didn't see the reason for it, honestly. You can have these characters, of course, but have them when they've got them being these characters and not doing anything with them. On one hand, I can see why a lot of people would be happy that it's not shoved in our faces, but on the other hand, I'm seeing then why have them in the first place? If you're not going to use them, but don't just use them pointlessly, and don't just use them for shock value, and don't just use them to make a wilder point that doesn't make any sense in the context. But I suspect it's just going to go down, I don't like Obama. There was this big hoopla when he was made president, the first ever black president of America, and you know what? He talks about it now. It's a big hoopla, and then people just get on with their lives. People move on. That's what they do. That's exactly what they do. People move on. But I hope she'll be great. And
I wish her good luck. And I want it to be good. I'm a fan of the show. I want it to be great.
I feel it's gone a bit
cartoony recently.
And too much of a suspension of belief, and a bit careless, honestly, recently. The last maybe 4 seasons even, since David Tennant. I mean, it's gone a bit surreal since then. I hope it has a bright future still, and I hope this next series will be a standout, and I'll certainly be watching. I'll certainly be hoping to enjoy it and come back every week and stay, excited by this series that's gone on for so long. And
I'm a fan.
I hope it all turns out great, honestly. Maybe I'll do a end of season review. Maybe I'll do the pilot review, episode 1 review, maybe. If that's what you want, you can comment. But I hope you like this reaction video, and I hope to see you soon with another. And I hope to be posting a lot more in the future. And whatever you want to see, if you want to see reaction to something, comment down below. Like this video, share this video, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I want to entertain. I want us to have discussions.
I want us to have fun.
So, I hope you liked it. Farewell, my muchins.
Take care.
My muchins. Thank you.